So there have been rumors for quite a while that the Edmonton Oilers they have serious issues with their blue line, which I actually tend to agree with. I think that a top four, preferably top pair blue liner, but a top four blue liner is always the best, and that is absolutely what they need. I really think that this team can be an absolute force. I mean, they already are a force. I mean, they made it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals last year. Let's give credit where credit's due. Edmonton has been friggin' fantastic last year. But now we do have Pierre LeBrun saying that, I mean, straight up, they are inquiring about Ivan Provorov, which makes a lot of sense, right? Like, I've been a big Provorov fan. I think he is low-key exactly what they need. But so they're probably going to trade the pending UFA, obviously, this season, but they are going to need to, essentially get assets back. Now, they're going to be looking for a first-round selection back, as is usually what happens here. Now, the last time I looked, I'm going to look at the information again, but Edmonton doesn't have one in 2025, but they have one in 2026 and 2027. So I believe I'll put the information up on the screen to make sure that you guys get the correct information from Puckpedia. But this is something that I think is a slam dunk for them. I think when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers, this is a slam dunk. Now, they didn't necessarily say what exactly else they would be willing to would have to give up. Like, I don't know how many assets. He just mentioned a first round pick in general. Now, the criticisms of this in one regard are going to be like, okay, it's a rental. Which is obviously true. I doubt, who knows whether he's actually going to sign there long term. Let's just assume that he's not, right? Whenever you get a player that's going to UFA, it's better to assume that they're not going to, because they usually just don't. So that's what the facts would tell us. Now, that team is actually really, really close to winning the cup. They might not, they haven't had a bad start this season. They haven't been necessarily where you figured that they would be. But again, this team was literally a hair away from winning the Stanley Cup. So if there is any team that it's okay getting a UFA defenseman that's probably going to walk on you and giving a first round pick, I mean, this has got to be the team. I mean, you literally have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, who objectively are unbelievable in the playoffs. You have to go for it, period. The biggest reason that I think that Ivan Provorov is a very good match for the Oilers is one of the most underrated things in hockey is a player that can play on your team and nothing happens, especially a defenseman. Now, forwards, you want them to create offense, and defensemen, you want to be able to create offense too. And well, I wouldn't necessarily say Ivan Provorov is like a consistent defensive, offensive dynamo. One thing that he does pretty well is he lowers shots against, he lowers impact against on a relatively consistent basis. And this year he's playing, again, every year this guy has played in the NHL, whatever team he's played on, he typically plays 23 minutes a night. Earlier in his career, he was playing 24, 25 minutes. This is a guy that coaches trust when they put out there. And that is a really good sign that whatever team he's on, whatever coach he has, that's always remained consistent, that he is, a guy that coaches trust. That's a really, really good sign. Now, again, as I said earlier, the one thing that does worry me is if the Edmonton Oilers give up too much, man. But for example, if the Leafs were about to give up a lot of assets for a player like this, I would be questioning it a lot more. The only reason that I would be questioning it a lot more is because I worry about just how good the Leafs are. They haven't proven themselves that they can go on runs in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Their top players have not proven that they can be consistent players in the playoffs, and then that would worry me. I would feel a lot more confident in the Edmonton Oilers because they have players that legitimately not only show up but get better in the playoffs, right? Their top players are elite in the playoffs, so I'd be going for it if I was the Oilers every single year, 100%. Now, I would like them to be able to somehow improve their goaltending a little bit, but we'll have to see in the future what happens there. Now, there are issues, obviously, when it comes to Darnell Nurse. I mean, obviously, he's out for a bit. I'm pretty sure after that hit. I don't know how he's doing. I haven't checked in on him lately. But he's a left-hand shooting defenseman. They would have to probably play him on the left. That's probably where he would be a lot more comfortable, perhaps behind Matthias Ekholm, maybe even before him. And then their left shot defenseman would be something like Ekholm and Provorov. That would be legitimately that would be legit. That would be a really solid, pretty solid decor, a really good top end. I mean, they already have Evan Bouchard, who is, I think he's really, really good offensively. So, I mean, that would look really, really good, at least on paper. We don't know how they would mesh as a team, right? Oh, and by the way, I just checked in on it really quickly, and yes, he is actually, Nurse is returning tonight, so he will be back from injury. So either way, whatever. I mean, if you could manage to move Nurse out, listen, I'm not going to hate on. I'm not the biggest fan of Darnell Nurse. He's been a real issue for their blue line. I don't know about you guys, and again, if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan, please drop it in the comments. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can give me a different point of view. I love different people's point of view, but it's when I watch him play, he almost reminds me of Dion Phaneuf or something. I don't know, where he's just always at a position and running around, and I'm it amazes me how some teams just literally cannot let go of certain players that they clearly need to let go of. Anyways, this video is about Ivan Provorov, but if you could find out how to replace his minutes, that would be huge. But yeah, my final opinion on this from the Edmonton Oilers is going to be absolutely yes, go for this. You have a team that performs in the playoffs. You have two elite players that step up. You got Nugent Hopkins. You have Evan Bouchard. This is an absolute vote yes for me. Depending. I mean, if they're giving up a first round selection, I guess it depends on top of that what they want to give up, what they would like to give up. But yes, I am absolutely voting yes on this. But hey, I want to hear your comments. Drop it below. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to leave the video there. Have a great day, guys. Goodbye.